It's Thursday, June 13. This is the news on PBCJ. I am Simone Absalom. Parliamentarians traded blame and barbs in the House of Representatives over the failure of successive administrations to curb crime. Legislators were debating a motion to extend the zones of special operations in Mount Salem, St. James and Denham Town. Attorney General Marlene Malahoo Fort had a sobering message for colleagues on both sides of the aisles.
I don't believe any of us can sit comfortably in the House with what is happening in the wider community. I don't think any of us can. And I find it unfortunate.
Opposition Member of Parliament for Clarendon Northern, Horace Daly, who volunteered to speak on behalf of all political representatives in the parish, made an impassioned plea for immediate action by the security forces.
We want a Zozo in Maypen. We want something in Maypen to deal with the criminals. People are tired of it. And I'm appealing to you. And as a matter of fact, you should really tell us today, Minister, what has been recommended for Clarendon? Yes, man, you can tell us, the people of Clarendon want to hear. What has been recommended? What you're going to do, Clarendon? And you see, let me tell you something. I will not. You know, any clown can be popular, you know. Any clown. Next point. Minister, I hope you will listen to what we are saying.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness has touted Jamaica's economic recovery as a step toward achieving greater social equity for all citizens. Mr. Holness was delivering the keynote address at the high-level segment of the 108th session centenary of the International Labour Conference on Wednesday in Geneva, Switzerland. Today, the island's national debt stands at 96% of GDP, coming from a high of 150% from recent years, with unemployment reduced to 8% and youth unemployment to 22%.
The best way to place people at the center of development and shared prosperity is to give them the opportunity to work, to be engaged in that sacred process of transforming their labor and creativity into wealth, earning a living from their effort, eating their own bread, not by crime, not by immoral means, not by dependency, not by pity, but by work. That is why we are not only seeking to grow our economy, we have actively pursued an economic policy of job creation. I am proud to say that more Jamaicans are employed today than at any other time in our independent history.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness told the Assembly that the Jamaican government had taken steps to move the country to the decent work standards.
Decent work must ultimately mean that the worker can create wealth and own assets from their effort. To this end, we have removed employee income tax from more than 60% of all workers in Jamaica. We have also sought to empower our workers by making special provisions for them to purchase shares in profitable public sector enterprises which are being divested. We have significantly lowered mortgage rates, and minimum wage earners can access mortgages at 0% through our National Housing Trust. In addition, we have introduced the option of an intergenerational mortgage to assist older workers in poor households to acquire housing solutions.
During the UN General Assembly in September 2015, decent work and 4 pillars of the decent work agenda, employment creation, social protection, rights at work and social dialogue, became integral elements of the new 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, Goal 8 of the 2030 Agenda. President of the Caribbean Maritime University, Professor Fitz Pinnock, has hinted that there could be other motives behind the Financial Investigations Division securing a court order to obtain documents from the institution as part of its ongoing investigations. The probe is linked to allegations of corruption connected to the former Education Minister, Ruel Reid, who was asked by Prime Minister Andrew Holness in March to resign. Speaking to the Public Administration and Appropriations Committee, the PAAC, on Wednesday, Pinnock denied reports that investigators were being obstructed, claiming that the CMU has complied and that only 61 of more than 600 documents requested are still outstanding.
Well, sir, let me just say this. Over 600 documents have been requested, and up to yesterday, only 61 were outstanding, of which we are getting most of them today. I made a statement, and I'll say it very boldly. Some of this borders on being personal, and some of it, I say, could tantamount to harassment, sir.
Bye.
I'll leave it there.
The FID has engaged private counsel instead of the Attorney General's chambers in the matter, a move which the PAAC said is further cause for concern. The Jamaica Public Service Company, JPS, has announced that it will be paving the way for electrification of local transportation sector with the rollout of electric vehicle charging stations across the country. JPS said in a statement yesterday that after full deployment, 90% of the Jamaican population will be within 30 kilometers of a charging station. Full deployment is expected by the end of March 2020. JPS says it will build and operate these charging stations on the properties of third-party partners. The company added that it has been actively collaborating with several stakeholders to review the local electric vehicle market and to propose recommendations to support the acceleration of the growth of the sector. Edna Manley College principal for the Visual and Performing Arts, Nicolene DeGrasse Johnson, was yesterday taken to task at a meeting of the Public Administration and Appropriations Committee for her handling of reports of sexual harassment by a senior lecturer at the institution 2 years prior to the most recent claims, which made headlines last month. Government MP Leslie Campbell pressed DeGrasse Johnson after she told the committee that reports had been made to her in 2017 by another staff member about students complaining of misconduct of a sexual nature by the senior lecturer in question.
Let us go back 2 years ago. That is the incident I am dealing with. So you have a member of faculty who had complaints, right, who ought to have reduced them into writing. Right. They weren't done. Am I correct up to this point?
Up to that point, no. She brought back one.
She brought back one?
Yes.
And what was done with that particular statement?
I read it. We were to meet with the gentleman. He was off the island, and then this happened in the summer months.
The fact is, you did not have the procedure instituted to have him brought before the disciplinary panel.
True at that point.
Yes. And so, in furtherance of that, he was then empowered to go and to attack other students. And this is what has triggered the incident in 2019, or the reports we have in 2019.
I may have to disagree.
I'm sorry?
I'm disagreeing with that.
You're disagreeing. But the fact is, 2017 or thereabouts when you received it, nothing was done in furtherance of your obligation under the code.
Not true, sir.
All right,
Not
well,
true,
tell
sir.
this committee what you did.
I spoke with the Vice Principal of Academic Affairs at that point. Nothing came in before that. And so, because of the delicacy of the matter, when the lecturer returned to college, we had a conversation with him. At that point, I said to him, if it happened, because I didn't have anything else to work with, and he denied it, if it happened again, we would move forward. And I didn't get anything else until this year, and we moved forward.
So you had several complaints, right, in 2017 or thereabouts?
No.
So, but you had only a statement from one, so you couldn't get the statement from the others to corroborate the one that was taken?
The institution has been embroiled in controversy over the matter since it came to light and was raised at yesterday's meeting with the Education Ministry. The principal is expected to reappear before the committee at its next meeting to answer more questions. At least one alleged victim in a newspaper report said she was sexually harassed by the senior lecturer for over 4 years. As members of the opposition People's National Party, PNP, begin to declare support for President Dr. Peter Phillips and challenger Peter Bunting, former party president Portia Simpson-Miller has come out publicly stating that she will not be supporting either candidate. Mrs. Simpson-Miller's response was triggered by social media posts which suggested that she has thrown her support behind a particular candidate. The former Prime Minister released a statement on Twitter distancing herself from both camps and asked that her image not be used in the campaigns. Bunting last weekend declared that he would challenge Dr. Phillips for the top job. Motorists should see a decrease at the pumps in the price of gasoline and diesel effective today, and that's according to the ex-refinery costs of Petrojam. 87 and 90 octane gasoline will be sold for $126.11 and $128.95 per litre respectively, down by $2.04 each. Automotive diesel fuel will be sold for $129.06 per litre, following a decrease of $3.04, while ultra-low sulfur diesel is down by $3.06 and will be sold for $133.48 per litre. Meanwhile, kerosene decreased in price by $3.06 and will be sold for $110.32 per litre. Marketing companies and retailers will add their respective markup to these prices. The US dollar on Wednesday, June 12, ended trading at Jamaican $130.16, down by 51 cents. According to the Bank of Jamaica's daily foreign exchange trading summary, the Canadian dollar ended trading at Jamaican $98.16, down from $98.68, while the British pound sterling ended trading at Jamaican $165.37, up from Jamaican $164.55. This week on Healthy Living, we take a look at a form of alternative treatment for vaginal issues, vaginal steaming. It is an all-aged natural remedy said to cleanse the vagina and uterus. We paid a visit to VagiSpa, located at 121.5 Constant Spring Road.
Hi, welcome to VagiSpa, where we pamper your most sacred treasure. I'm just gonna ask you to complete these forms for me. And based on what you've indicated on the forms, we'll prepare your individual blends. So I'm just gonna ask you to have a seat up here. This is your throne. Are you guys comfortable?
Yes.
Okay, normally you don't have on that much top. So we set the atmosphere so you're as comfortable as possible. So, all right, Tina. Just have a seat here. Remember to test the temperature with your inner arm, inner arm. All right. It's your first time steaming?
Yes.
How are you feeling? I'm gonna ask you to open your legs widely because you want to steam your most sacred treasure and not your thighs. All right, so what is the temperature feeling like now? It's fine.
Outside's hot.
Okay. All right, so we've set the temperature to a comfort level for you, so you should not feel anything very hot. The steam should be moderate throughout the entire 30 minutes, so you'll be seated for 30 minutes. Okay? All right, so if there is anything that you need to ask, please free to ask me. And also, if the temperature feels uncomfortable, you can also indicate that to me as well. I'll regulate the temperature for you. Okay, please do enjoy. Today we'll be serving pineapple pudding.
Thanks so much for deciding to have a chat with us.
Thank you and welcome to Badger Spa.
All right, so my first question is, what are some of the services that you provide here at Badger Spa?
Well, presently we offer just vaginal steamings, and we cater to women that are probably having issues with fibroids, endometriosis, also heavy bleeding and painful menstrual cramps right now.
All right, so what is vaginal steaming really?
Vaginal steaming is the go-to for every woman as it relates to regulating your pH balance after your period, if it is that you need to do a cleanse after your period. Traditionally, that's what we normally do when we were growing up, and in the Eastern culture, that's what is done right before your period and right after your period.
Who needs it?
Basically, all women need it, and anybody over the age of, any female over the age of 16 years old with parental consent can do a vaginal steam here at Badger Spa.
List some of the benefits of vaginal steaming.
First and foremost, it increases the blood flow in your uterine wall. That's the first thing. And secondly, it regulates your pH balance because of the herb blends that we put together. And it just promotes a healthier uterus. If it is that you have a vaginal discharge, it removes that. Vaginal odor, it also removes that as well. And because of the increased blood flow, there's limited clotting for women as it relates to painful menstrual cramps. We also put herbs in the blends as well to regulate your flow, your menstrual flow, and as such you don't have heavy bleeding. People may say that, oh, steaming and hot flashes don't come together, but because of the herbs that we put in, the lady just goes through 30 minutes, and the benefits that she reaps after is more of a cooling effect, and it cools her down. She's not moody, which is one of the symptoms of menopause, and primarily hot flashes, so she has a cooler temperature rather than continuous sweating and feeling hot.
All right, and does it help with fibroids?
Fibroids are stagnated blood, muscles, and tissues in your uterine walls. And what does steam do, people may ask, is that it increases the blood flow, and whatever is stagnant there, it promotes the circulation. So you will have discharges, which is linked to the seeping out of the fibroids through the vagina.
What are the risks of vaginal steaming?
The only risk to vaginal steaming, and the primary one, is that if you're pregnant, you may have a miscarriage. If you're on your period, it will increase the blood flow. Apart from that, there are no other risks.
Okay, so you said that we can't do it while we're pregnant, right? So what about doing vaginal steaming as part of your regime in trying to get pregnant?
Definitely, it's highly recommended that you do vaginal steaming because it increases the blood flow, so everybody is active and ready and prepped for fertility. So we highly recommend that you do that.
In regional news, Haitian President Jovenel Moïse says he will not resign despite a wave of protests that have swept through Port-au-Prince since last weekend. Moïse is accused of embezzling Petrocaribe funds, and the opposition is also calling not only for his resignation, but for his indictment.
Thousands of protesters have taken to the streets since Sunday, demanding Moise's resignation. But one of the president's spokespersons says he had done everything to ensure the investigation into the spending of PetroCaribe funds, and he will not be stepping down. But the embattled president is also facing the wrath of opposition lawmakers. 21 members of the Chamber of Deputies, which is the lower house in the National Assembly in Haiti, presented a letter to the president of the chamber, Gary Bourdeau, on Tuesday, urging him to officially accuse Moise of corruption, funds misappropriation, and repeated violations of the Constitution. They've asked for a special sitting to fix a date for the session of indictment and say unless that is done, they will oppose the holding of any other session. The deputies' call is based on a May 31st 600-page report by the Superior Court of Auditors, which outlined how President Moise mishandled PetroCaribe funds meant for social and development projects in Haiti. The report described as serious the ways in which the government has illicitly spent more than $2 billion of PetroCaribe funds.
Over in Trinidad and Tobago, Attorney General Faris Al-Rawari is claiming that migrants, including Venezuelans, are contributing to a rise in crime in the Tule Island Republic. Al-Rawari made the disclosure to Parliament on Thursday, but said it was not just Venezuelans who are contributing to crime. We get more from CNC3's Jesse Ramdio.
Seeking to manage a Venezuelan migration challenge, the country has now inherited another problem. While piloting debate on the bail amendment bill in the Senate on Tuesday, Attorney General Faris Al-Rawari revealed there was a correlation between a spike in crime and migrants. It's the first such admission from the government.
It is a fact, having spoken with the Commissioner of Police today, that we have had a serious uptick in certain of the crimes as a result of some of the immigrant issues.
The Attorney General's comment comes just days after the murder of 29-year-old Venezuelan national Evelyn Rojas, allegedly at the hands of a Venezuelan man. Recent drug-related killings and the arrest of a Venezuelan gang leader in Point Fortin have also led to speculation that an increase in bloodshed was on the horizon. But according to the Attorney General, it is no longer speculation.
The numbers of murders have been noticed to have risen as a result of some of our migration issues. I'm not talking only about Venezuela, I'm talking about other positions.
But just a day before the AG's revelation, National Security Minister Stuart Young said migrants, particularly Venezuelans, were not a major contributor to crime.
The Venezuelans are not the major cause of crime in Trinidad and Tobago, and what I can say, what we're doing to deal with it is, as I said this morning, we started off with a meeting with the heads of security, and one of the issues that we dealt with is how to deal with the continued suggestion that the Venezuelans are the source of all crime.
Crime has been one of the main topics among the public following government's announcement of its amnesty program, given this country's rising murder tolls over the years.
In Barbados, there is to be a payday for life insurance policyholders of the failed company Clico Barbados. Just over $400 million in cash and bonds will be paid over to them by Resolution Life, the company which took over Clico's portfolio. This CBC News report gives us the details.
Resolution Life took over the portfolio previously held by failed insurance giant Clico International Life Insurance Limited just over a year ago. But back in March, in her budget speech, Prime Minister Mia Amor Motley announced that the entity would be liquidated by the Financial Services Commission, and policyholders would each receive a maximum cash payment of $20,000. CEO Cheryl Senhouse says their primary objective is just that, to get the policyholders what is due to them and end their painful wait. She says they're using the consultation meetings to explain the payment plans.
Quite a few of our policyholders will receive a cash payment up to $20,000, depending on the net value of their policy, and any amounts over that will be paid in bonds. So there should be a significant infusion of cash into the economy once persons receive their cash payment initially, and then are able to access the funds from the bonds when they start the payments around September of this year.
According to her, they have also used the time to reassure clients that insurance is still a very good instrument.
A lot of people feel disgruntled and aggrieved with what has transpired, but we hope that bringing a final resolution to this situation will help restore some confidence, not just in the insurance industry, but in the regulators and in the ability of the economy overall to withstand pressures and failures from businesses.
Policyholders also shared how they felt, with several expressing that they have some measure of closure.
I am absolutely delighted that I have a process to follow and that I understand that at the end of September I'll be receiving payments on my EFPA.
I was praying that it would come because after all I'd paid my money into the system, so I expected it back.
I reckon it's time enough that things should be in order. Now, the poor people suffering, and it's time enough now that we should get some type of funds.
ResLife is hoping to wrap up operations by September.
In sports, it's all about cricket, as West Indies bowling coach Corey Collymore believes veteran Chris Gayle will welcome the challenge of taking on Barbadian speed sensation Jofra Archer in Friday's World Cup fixture against England, which he expects to be a lively game. Archer has been consistently the fastest bowler on show in the tournament, and his new ball spell against the ultra-aggressive Gayle is already one of the highly anticipated matchups of the clash at Southampton. According to Collymore, quote, Chris thrives on that. Collymore himself, a former Barbados and West Indies fast bowler. Friday's game will bring together some of the fastest bowlers in the tournament, with West Indies' O'Shane Thomas, Sheldon Cottrell and Andre Russell already making life difficult for opposing batsmen in their 3 games to date. And over in Jamaica, Sabina Park will host the second game in a 2-test series between West Indies and India this summer. The world number 8 ranked West Indies will begin their bid to become the world test champions, as a 2-test series will open the new ICC World Test Championship. The first test will be played at the Sir Vivian Richards Cricket Ground in Antigua between August 22 and August 26, before coming to Jamaica for the second test from August 30 to September 3 at Sabina Park. The last time Sabina Park hosted a test match was July 2018, when the Windies defeated Bangladesh by 166 runs in 3 days. And that's the news on PBCJ. Thank you so much for watching.